Hello and welcome to another episode of Technology and the Arts. My name is Brian Kelly.
And I'm John Maede.
And together we'll be exploring the connections between technology and art. John, it's good to see you again. How you doing?
How are you, Brian? I'm doing fine.
I'm doing great. Thanks for asking. What you been up to lately?
Well, there's a couple things going on this week. Specifically, I just got done with a class at Princeton Public Library, like almost every week. Luckily, it's a great relationship that I have with them. And the class tonight was on food blogging, and we talked about the kinds of focus on topics that you can make and the kinds of things that make a great post about food and the importance of visuals like photography and graphics and the different ways that you can explore food as a content topic. And I think the most fun was when I introduced these people in the class tonight to Epic Mealtime. You know, they, for whatever reason, had not seen it. You familiar with Epic Mealtime?
Nope.
Really? You should do a search, a YouTube search on Epic Mealtime, and like watch fast food lasagna, and
Okay.
You'll be surprised. They go to some extremes in the way that they revere food, and so I was trying to give them an example of, you know, how that is a different message about food than when I used to have a beer blog, to when people just do food photography or foodography, as opposed to if you're just posting on Yelp or you're posting on food spotting, right? So it was a great conversation. Later this week at Princeton Public Library, I will be leading a 3-week class on Codecademy, the fantastic code MOOC that is free. And the thing I really love about the site, I think we've talked about it here, the thing I love about the site is that it has examples and questions and lessons and paths that you can take in order to learn all kinds of different coding platforms like JavaScript and PHP. But on every page, essentially, every page has a lesson that you have to complete. And if you don't complete it to the algorithm's satisfaction, you can't move forward. So if somebody shows me their Codecademy badges, there's gamification as a part of the system. If somebody shows me their Codecademy badges, I know that they actually earned them, because they wouldn't have been able to just, you know, sort of work their way into getting those badges any other way than interpreting and correctly answering the question on each lesson's page.
Cool.
So anyway, I'm going to introduce people starting this week, and it'll go on for the following 2 weeks on Wednesday night. How about you?
Well, some personal news. And I'm only going to share this just in case if suddenly if I'm talking and I appear to be shot, it's because I am in need of a root canal.
I've had those.
There's a tooth in my upper right side of my mouth, and it's a little better now. I've been taking painkiller and some Advil, and I have an antibiotic that was prescribed to prevent further infection and prevent an abscess tooth, and a little bit of Oragel here and there. But it's feeling a lot better than it did last week, because last week, if I just grazed it, it was this intense pain, some of the most intense pain I've ever felt in my life. It was awful. So that shouldn't happen while we're on the air, but if it does, that's the explanation. But that's not going to happen until the 17th, so I have a little ways to go in order for that first step to take place. So the other downside is that I'm kind of reluctant to go running and continue my training for the Trenton 10K because if I'm bouncing up and down running, I don't want to hit that tooth. And I'm seeing on Google Plus Hangouts, I'm seeing my icon in the screen. So again, I think there's some issues with Google Plus and YouTube tonight, but hopefully people are able to see this. So yeah, so I'm a little reluctant to run because of that issue. Are you still with me, John?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay.
I can see you perfectly. So.
Okay, perfect. And now I'm back on my window. So, but I don't want to wait till the 17th in order to start running again. So I'm gonna possibly try it this week. Maybe just do some 5Ks and not go all out with the 10K. But yeah, so it's kind of messing me up a little bit. Also, with all my talk lately about Yoko Ono, since I played accordion on my friend Christian Beach's version of her song Silver Horse for an upcoming tribute album, I wanted to point out something I just learned today. If you look at Billboard's current chart listing the top dance/club play songs...
Why would I do this?
Well, guess who you will find at the top?
Brian Kelly.
Well, not Miley Cyrus, not Katy Perry, not Lady Gaga, and not Britney Spears.
Okay,
Holding number one on the dance club play songs chart right now is 80-year-old Yoko Ono.
Wow.
With an updated remix of her 1981 hit "Walking on Thin Ice."
Is this from the same collection that you're a part of?
No. She worked with some DJs, some remix experts, and put out an album of remixes of the song. She did it in 2003, I believe, and now here's like 10 years later, she has another one out, and it was actually a #1 dance hit back in the day, back in 1981 when it came out. And the interesting thing about the song is that it was recorded on December 8th, 1980. The last thing John Lennon ever recorded is the lead guitar part on the song. And he actually, there's a later remixes of it included a sound bite of him in the studio that night saying something like, "I think you've just recorded your first #1, Yoko." And and then going home from the studio was when he was attacked by Mark David Chapman and killed. And and the single came out a few weeks later, in January of 1981. But this remix is currently #1 on the dance club charts.
Amazing.
Billboard, and I think it's a testament to her, and maybe speaks volumes as to what John saw in her. I mean, all the criticism, all the accusations, all the tragedy that she has had to endure over the years, and she is still going strong. And I think that's a real testament to her. So, and finally, this is the penultimate episode of the fall 2013 series of Technology and the Arts. As mentioned previously, we briefly talked about perhaps having a spring season. I don't know how that's going to work out if we do it, but it was. And John, I haven't even talked to you about this, but recently I was going through some emails. I was cleaning out, so I updated to iOS 7, and I couldn't figure out how to get in my old iPhone, in the old iOS, it would just tell me new messages. But I have like thousands of unread messages in my Gmail accounts, and a couple of them, and I just always looked at the new messages. Well, this tells you iOS 7 shows all of the unread messages, and so I finally decided to go through all my Gmail messages and mark those read, and that required to go through them a little bit, and it brought me back to 2008 when we were kind of winding down our original podcast, and there were some people who reached out to us, and we had like some brief interactions, and it was something that we could have explored, but since we were kind of in the shutdown process, we never really got back to them, and we never got back around to them. And I actually did some quick research, and some of them are still in positions that would be of interest to us. So maybe now that I have those leads and some other leads that we've discussed on the show, maybe I can try to, or we can try to, get some interviews lined up for the spring,
Fantastic.
even if we can them. So, yeah. So if we can work that out, that'd be great. But that's all I have. John, what would you like to talk about in focus this week?
The only thing that comes to mind is the new set on Fox News. I said CNN in the show notes, but of course I meant Fox News.
Yes,
I know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
And I'm a little surprised that it hasn't happened sooner, but it didn't have to be so weird. Like they could have, they could have had like one or two and had it just be sort of a notable thing on set. But instead they have it like, I don't know. I don't even know exactly why they're. I don't know.
Hold on. We have to. Hold on. We have to be able to get giant tablets. Hold on. We got to be able to get a picture up here. But yeah, continue talking about them.
Well, while you do that, I'm going to find a picture that says that I predicted this.
Okay.
Hold on for a second.
All right. So let me do a screen share here. So this is what John is talking about. The new Fox News deck, they call it, is basically looks like the Enterprise, but everybody is working on these giant iPad-like tablets, which are actually, I believe, they're Surface devices.
Probably.
Because I mean, here you see it looks like tiles. Here, and even here. So, but it's odd that they made them look like iPads. It's kind of, again, it's Fox News playing with the facts. They want to look cool and have the iPad look, but they went with the the conservative Microsoft product. But yeah, and it's kind of weird. I mean, this guy looks like he's checking out football standings. Who is this person updating a Facebook status? It's kind of, why are they facing towards the viewer? To me, this just like, this is asking for trouble. And the other thing is, they're just looking at one screen each. Like, nobody's looking at multiple displays on the one display. Like, it's not like they're multitasking. They're doing one thing. So what is the point of having these huge screens?
Oh, obviously it's a visual. It's a set piece. It doesn't even matter what they're doing. It just matters that they have these things that they're doing it on.
Oh, I remember the huge easel computing. Yes, I remember this.
So in November of 2012, I predicted that the next size of computers, these portable computers like tablets, would not go smaller but would go larger, right? Because we already have 4-inch, 5-inch, 7-inch, 10-inch. Why not like a 36 or a 48-inch computer to sort of change that paradigm again? And think about all the power and battery life that something like that would have.
Right, but how are you going to carry that around?
It's not meant to be carried around like you would carry around a laptop. It's meant to be carried around in the home. So you would sort of take your work with you to the couch and take your work with you to the, maybe out on the deck. And it would have like a stand that you could like drop it into.
I.e. an easel.
Right. hence easel computing. So, but the idea was that, for artists or for, imagine the keyboards you could have on this too. Like the virtual keyboards, you could have like the Microsoft wraparound keyboard where your fingers like turn in.
Mm-hmm.
Or you could have like gaming. Imagine what you could do with gaming, like all the little tiny things that you could have going on the screen, and be able to use, multiple touch in order to sort of play with that interface. And I mean, quite honestly, Wacom already does this, but they don't have theirs disconnected from a stand and all that. Like, it's not self-contained. I'm not sure why Wacom has not made this yet.
Well, somebody made it for Fox News.
Right. All right, coming back to you. There we go.
There you are. Yeah, I saw it today and I was like, what? That is just it's very weird how they have it set up there.
Agreed. So, how about you, Brian? What do you want to talk about in depth?
I didn't want to talk about a lot because I was hoping to prevent myself from talking too much with my current dental situation, but things came up in the last 24, 48 hours that I needed to talk about. And the first thing is it kind of blew up on Twitter last night. Joyce Evans is a news anchor for Fox 29 in Philadelphia. More Fox, insanity. And last night she tweeted from her account at Joyce Evans Fox 29. Thought Breaking Bad was hot last Sunday? At Fox 29 Philly, see who's Breaking Bad in Southwest Philly, leaving 6 people shot tonight at 10.
Wow.
Here's the actual tweet. Let me go back to screen share. I'll show you the actual, and it made Gawker too. I mean, this is how bad it got. This is her tweet. Now, here's the thing. The Fox 29 Philly Twitter jockey retweeted this blindly, basically sanctioning the lack of taste that this portrayed. And that went out, and so now it not only went to her followers, now it went to the official Fox 29 Philly Twitter feeds followers. And then she tried to defend herself with this thing, which has typos, and it's just like a nonsensical string of words. Last tweet, not at all a joke. Obviously that's not correct. Very real-life drama was the point, as opposed to one that end on TV. That was my point. No, there was no point to what you said. The only point was that you were going through the withdrawal of not having Breaking Bad. You were thinking back to having Breaking Bad the previous weekend, and you thought, oh, I'll tie it into this totally unrelated shooting in Southwest Philly that had nothing to do with Breaking Bad. I mean, if she's saying it's not like TV, why did she invoke the name of a TV show to tease something that was coming up on the news? And it makes absolutely no sense. And what happened was on Twitter, this led to Joyce Evans tweets hashtag popping up, and here's some of them. Like people were trying to like one up her. So yeah. Like, what you talking about, Willis? South Philly man has 3 different strokes on the way to the hospital. Dies tonight at 10. That one's a little too rough, but did you like Gone with the Wind? See footage of tornado ripping the roof off a house with family of 10 inside tonight at 10. There's one that's towards the bottom here. Are you still seeing my screen? I'm not.
Yeah, I'm still
Okay.
seeing your screen.
A fan of Home Alone? Check out this family that disappeared and left their 2-year-old to die. You know.
Oh, man.
Twitter was like hysterical last night because I was reading these and just kept on laughing. Yeah, not so Top Chef. Tune in to Fox 29 tonight to find out how one local cook brutally murdered his entire workplace.
Oh my God.
Oh, and you know, and it's so touching on the whole this point that she seems to think she had. I mean, there is no point in doing this. I mean, it was just tasteless, and I don't think Fox 29 or Joyce Evans has said anything about it. It's really unfathomable that it has gotten so far, and nobody is saying anything. At least from a Fox 29 perspective. But it's again, I see this all the time with Twitter feeds of news outlets. I don't know who they're hiring to do it, but at least have somebody with some kind of editorial sense. Don't just hire a kid to run your Twitter feed, because they see an anchor.
People, I have this conversation all the time when I'm discussing branding with people, and they say, I don't have time to do that, so we're going to give it to a student, or we're going to give it to whoever. And I'm saying, that's fine if the student or your temp or whoever is reasonable for that task, if they understand something about social media and the disaster of virality, potentially,
Yeah.
But don't do it to save money, because you'll end up costing yourself a lot of money. I mean, yes,
and reputation.
Fox News probably got a lot more people viewing, but what has that done to the reputation of her,
Right. Well, what it's done is she's gotten a bunch more followers, to really just, troll her. But it's also pointed out there's like 2 previous incidents where she's messed up on the air, dropping F-bombs, and there was something else that she did in Miami, which I haven't seen yet because I went to watch it tonight finally, and YouTube was having its issues, so I didn't get to see it. But apparently during Hurricane Irene coverage in Camden, she was like doing this. She was like just wandering these flooded streets in Camden, and she's like, "Oh, I'm going back to my bench," and like, "I love my bench." Like, she started talking about this bench, and then she dropped an F-bomb, like in the middle of it. It was really bizarre. So yeah, it's. And that response was like, are you qualified to even do you know the English language, let alone are you qualified to be, telling us what the news is? It's really amazing that this goes on in today's media, and it's part of the problem that we have. Why we're so ill-informed, because you know what? I started going on this rant in my head today, but it's like we suck at a lot of things these days. We suck at government. We suck at media. We're not doing much right, and we're not doing much right these days. And I know we joke about how our show is a train wreck, whatever. But you know what? At least we're out here. We're trying to further people's lives by bringing these issues to people's attention, and
No, I mean, our
professional media, the
our
professional media doesn't care.
is lighthearted at best. I appreciate what we do.
Yeah, and professional media, they don't care. I mean, they look at social media as unimportant, and there's got to be more of a connection between news outlets, especially, and their the people who run their Twitter feeds, their social media platforms, because it's a mess. I mean, I see it all the time. I'm constantly correcting Twitter feeds belonging to news outlets. Case in point, NBC Nightly News actually sent me a tweet back for correcting them. Remember there was that shooting in the Poconos at the municipal building?
No,
and
I don't have cable, dude.
Yeah, but you see the news.
No, I don't.
You have Twitter.
I have Twitter, but I don't follow I don't need to be put into emergency mode over nothing. Like, the whole industry is nonsense. If something matters to me, I'm going to see it because one of my close friends who I trust is on Facebook and they decided to retweet it, or
Well,
12 of them did.
Well, in my case, I follow a lot of Pocono area Twitter sources because when I was
Because that's where your hangout is? That's where your hideout
well,
is?
no, I was more. I had clients.
That's where you have a lair?
No, I had a client working on a project in the Pocono area, and I was up there a lot.
Is there anything you want to tell us, Brian?
No, I am. I'm telling you now. I was up in the Poconos a lot in 2011 and 2012 for for a client's project, and I have since part of it is monitoring what the social media is saying. I subscribe to these Twitter feeds, and when it first broke, I saw that it was in the Pocono area, but it was in this township, and I can't remember the name of the township right now. I for some reason I want to say it's Scott Township because I know there's a Scott Township near Pittsburgh, but that might not be right. So, but anyway, there's a township in the Poconos, and there's the same name of a township near Pittsburgh, and I saw the first report saying that it was in the Poconos, and then all of a sudden I see NBC Nightly News saying Pittsburgh area municipal building or gunfire erupts in Pittsburgh area municipal meeting or whatever, and I'm like, no, this is the entire other side of the state, north of Allentown. I mean, it's not even.
Don't you think it's one of those things where somebody says, where do you live, and they're like in California, and you're like, I'm kind of outside Philly, or like I might say, I'm outside Trenton. I might not even say Trenton. I would say Princeton.
Yeah, but I mean, Pennsylvania is a lot. I mean, it's a 7-hour difference we're talking about.
You're right, but to somebody who has never been in Pennsylvania, that they would probably understand where Pittsburgh was. They might not know what the Poconos were.
Yeah, but
Pittsburgh has a higher keyword rate. You know what I mean? Like.
Yeah, but you could say in northeast Pennsylvania. You could say north of Philly. You can do it a lot more accurately than Pittsburgh. I mean, Pittsburgh was totally way off. I mean, they had it in southwest Pennsylvania when it was in northeast Pennsylvania. So, but I mean, it's just and we see it all the time. The media just messes up, but there needs to be a stronger connection between the social media side of things and the news outlets. They seem to not care about it, and Joyce Evans' tweets are basically is the result of that. So, just want to go on a rant about that, and I'll put links to Joyce Evans' tweets in there because they're funny. Next thing, and just briefly, Nielsen is going to begin measuring Twitter chatter about TV shows to get a more accurate picture of social TV, as they call it. And so in the New York Times, and this is from October 6th, they talk about how only 98,600 people wrote messages on Twitter about the 2-hour season premiere of Grey's Anatomy last month, even though 9.3 million viewers watched it, according to Nielsen.
Wait a second, so, Grey's Anatomy is still on the air?
Yeah.
Seriously?
Yep.
What is it, like its 10th season?
I don't know how. I watched, I think, the first episode and that Code Black episode after the Super Bowl that one year, and I was like, this is ridiculous.
I mean, there are people who loved it, but I thought it was off the air. I thought they had their series finale like years ago.
Yeah, well, Big Bang Theory should have never made it to air, but that's like the biggest show in the world. I don't get it. Yeah. So anyway, Nielsen is now measuring what it calls the unique audience.
The whole point of that show is there's a character, Dr. Sheldon Cooper. No, it's just playing. Yeah. See, I imagine you understand the appeal of it, honestly.
I don't, but because every time I try to watch it, I understand, the geek factor, but I watch it and nothing is funny. Nothing. I mean, absolutely nothing. It's. I try watching it for like 5 minutes and I can't because I this laugh track is going nuts for
They have
these.
a live audience.
Whatever. It's just terrible. It's absolutely terrible. Nothing is funny and everybody's laughing. It's like Dane Cook all over again. Anyway, going back to the Nielsen measuring Twitter chatter, they're now measuring what it calls the unique audience for Twitter posts about television, providing a more complete view of the phenomenon known as social TV. On Monday, the company is introducing Nielsen Twitter TV ratings, a product announced last year that professes to measure all the activity and reach of Twitter conversation about shows, even if it has yet to be embraced by television executives and gain a broad client base. So it'll be interesting to see how that happens. Obviously, there's no data about it yet, but it would be interesting. So they say during the week of September 23rd, for example, the finale of AMC's Breaking Bad ranked #1 in the Twitter TV ratings, with 1.2 million posts that reached 9.3 million Twitter accounts, according to Nielsen. So
it's interesting. They're trying to do different things, which is essential. I mean, Nielsen's not going to know what I'm watching.
Right, and I think it's going to help buy time for shows that maybe aren't rating successes, but are our favorites of the Twitterverse. Like Community, is one. I mean, it's extraordinarily popular on Twitter and social media, but nobody watches it. And now last season, I didn't watch it because it was terrible because they kicked Dan Harmon, off his own show, but now he's back. So whenever they do bring Community back, I'll.
Is Chevy Chase still on that show?
No, he left. He left last season, and actually, Donald Glover is only going to appear in 5 episodes.
That's plenty of Danny Glover, though.
Not Danny Glover, Donald Glover.
Same difference.
Yeah, except a lot younger and funnier. But so that's about the Twitter ratings, and finally, I want to talk about STEM to STEAM.
Love this story.
Yeah, I saw it in US 1. I picked up a copy of US 1, and it stinks because last week was when especially Wednesday when this now I can't remember his name, the president of Rhode Island School of Design.
RISD?
Yeah.
John Maede.
Yeah, John Maede. There we go. He spoke at Princeton, and I didn't see the US 1 story until later, but I wouldn't have been able to go because I was in a lot of pain that day, especially. But so yeah, RISD is championing this movement of putting art and design in the middle of STEM, in science, technology, engineering, and math, and making it STEAM, STEAM. And what it says here, and this is from a guest blog post that John Maede wrote for Scientific American. He writes, artists and scientists tend to approach problems with a similar open-mindedness and inquisitiveness. They both do not fear the unknown, preferring leaps to incremental steps. They make natural partners. With such complementary thinking, there is a great potential when they collaborate from the offset, resulting in unexpected outcomes that can be exponentially more valuable than when they work apart. You can see the power of collaboration between artists and scientists in the decades of advancement in computer graphics at SIGGRAPH, which is a computer animation expo, which I went to in 1999 in Los Angeles. In the latest exhibitions at the Science Gallery in Dublin, or in the midst of groundbreaking scientific results with the Large Hadron Collider.
You just broke with a quote with your commentary.
Yeah, I know. I did that. Sorry. Live webcasting. Sorry. I interjected a personal
You
comment.
interjected a
Sorry.
personal in the middle of a word-for-word quote.
Yes, I know. I
Okay.
know. After my rant about the media. Oh,
Yeah,
I'm
it's
not
it's
professional.
just
I'm not professional media. Uh,
okay.
but he's also talked about Steve Jobs as an inspirational figure in the world of STEAM, someone who had technology and business acumen, but also knew a bit about design and how important it was to incorporate that aspect into Apple's products. So, I mean, that the entire concept of STEAM is really, you know, at the heart of what we set out to do with technology and the arts, and seeing the interconnection between art and the various fields of art and science and technology. And I'm really looking forward to following uh, what the Rhode Island School of Design is doing, and hopefully, bringing more of this STEM to STEAM movement into our discussions as we proceed with this show.
Agreed.
And hopefully maybe that's another possible guest down the road.
Oh yeah,
Well, who knows? We can try.
that's true. Steve Jobs
So,
is dead, though.
what was that?
I said Steve Jobs is dead.
Not Steve Jobs.
Oh, John Maede.
Or somebody from RISD.
All right, somebody from RISD. I know a few people at RISD.
Or even SIGGRAPH.
Well, let's go to SIGGRAPH. We'll do a live show.
That was fun. That was back in the days when my friend Jason, we were trying to start
Oh, I remember Jason.
we were trying to start his computer company.
Yeah.
And we had a booth at the startup park for, not a booth, but like a stand at the startup park at SIGGRAPH 99 in Los Angeles. And he actually made these boxes running the B operating system.
Oh, right.
And they were, it's funny that the people from B came over, and they had one of our machines running at their booth. And we had some, I had designed these fact sheets, product sheets, and press releases, and we had some documents over at their booth. And the people from B would come over, and they were like, man, that machine you made is like really awesome. It's nice to see somebody who is like designing a box, specifically for our operating system, and exploiting all the benefits it has. And he put in a lot of like extras in there, like AM/FM tuner, and a cable in port. Like he wanted to make it as easy as possible to utilize the multimedia aspects of the B operating system and the multitasking of the B operating system. And as much as support we got from the hands-on people, they just didn't. We didn't get any support from B, and obviously the reason why is because they were, they didn't make it, not their own, on their own terms. But it was fun while it lasted. It was cool to be there and try to make that happen.
Yeah.
But that was a fun time. Anyway, all right. Well, anything else you want to talk about?
No, I think we're good. This was a good penultimate episode.
Yeah. Well, hopefully the last episode, hopefully our finale is just as good or better. It would stink to go out on a bad note.
Yeah, it would.
So maybe my tooth will fall out during that one.
Oh, that would be horrible.
So, all right. Well, I guess that concludes this episode of Technology and the Arts. Hopefully you will join us again next week when we return for the finale. I want to thank you for watching, and remember to visit us at technologyinthearts.com. Visit our Facebook page or our Google Plus page. You can follow us on Twitter at tech_arts. Watch us at our YouTube channel.
Please subscribe.
Yes. Or search for us on your favorite podcatcher. So again, hopefully you'll join us for our finale next week. Until then, this is Brian Kelly.
And this is John Maede. Take care.